All right, looks like we're live. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. Looks like I got some health issues with the stream. Whoops, where'd it go? What is going on here? There we go. I think we're back. How's everybody's day going? Hey, Andrew, how are you, buddy? Hey, Yusuf, what's happening? You gonna come and see us this weekend? Got some training to do. We're running out of time. Who else we got in the chat today? And Doug, how are you, buddy? Thanks for joining in. Hey, Sawyer, how are you, my friend? I did reply to you today. I don't know if you saw that or not. And maybe you might have sent me something that I didn't reply to, though. I should check. It's been a crazy Monday. Something's coming up. Yeah. Okay. Yep, I think we're caught up over there. Is everybody getting ready? It's going to be a wonderful time at the Nats. Hey, Raven Project, how are you? The Goof's here. How you doing, buddy? Alpha Ranger, Jesse, how are you? Hey, Greg. All right, thanks for joining us. I haven't checked I should maybe check Top Deck and see how many guys we got registered. Has anybody checked lately? I'll just go sign in real quick and see. Oh boy, look at that. All right, there we go. Whoa, we lost a player. We went from 34 down to 33. What the heck? Well, anyways, thanks to everybody who's coming. It's going to be amazing. Mighty Joe Young's coming. There's some people on here. Yeah, all right, we're picking up some names. All right, good. I hope you all make it. It's going to be a good time. 33. We lost a player. I don't know who's not on there now, but I'm sure we'll get him back, whoever it was. Andrew says, I can't wait to see all the builds at the first regional. Nats was quite the shake-up, and I've heard of a few non-shift builds that I'm hoping do great. Yeah, a lot of people are trying to get away from the shift, but it's hard. Jesse says, great, surprise, grabbed another original art today. All right. You want to tell us what you got, Jesse? Or is that a surprise? That's the surprise. John says, just an alt Corey. Yep, maybe that's what it was. Maybe one of Ricky's bots unregistered. I don't know how you guys are going to do it. Getting ready for two different events the same weekend, a modern and a legacy version. It would drive me crazy having to get ready for both of them. Hey, Charlie. Good to see ya. I'm struggling just to get ready for the modern. The legacy stuff, like I said in my post yesterday, I'm just coaching these guys at this point. Steve's playing a very awesome deck, and he was beating up on Nor the other day. I think that was Friday night. I know Nor's going to tinker with that deck and bring back something a little bit better. He'll have it at its maximum potential by the time we get there. It's looking good. I like it. I think he's just missing a little bit. Needs to play just a little bit more. Hey, Joe, how are you? Getting ready for them. Who has time for that? Come on, Joe. You got to play some games, right? It's no fun if you just only play at a regional. Hey, Merlin, how are you? Goof says Joe's living that YOLO life for sure. Alpha Ranger says build 2 decks and pray. Yeah, it's what it feels like sometimes, don't it? You got the redhead art Felipe posted in the Kickstarter update. Early bird gets the worm. It pays to have those connections, don't it? Sawyer says, yeah, I think we are good. My friend you met the other day is planning on the regional. I'm trying to convince him to join the OP Cup. Might you have a Cadillac at the ready for him to borrow if he does? Possibly. The problem is we've had a couple people ask to borrow some Cadillac decks. I hate to say that on the stream. There's going to be some Cadillacs there. Most of you don't care, right? You got to win no matter what you play against. But a couple guys are wanting to just borrow a Cadillac and see what kind of damage they can do. Goof says, I'll cover my ears. Yeah, don't listen to that part. I played the Cadillac out in Boston last year. Still, I made the top 8, but that's as far as I went. I ran up against a Beyonder in the first round of single LM, Sean Sawyer, and was beating him until his KO event came up. But, you know, the Cadillac is still a fun deck to play. I'm waiting to see if Tyler pops into the chat tonight because, man, I just love talking about this game, okay? And sometimes I get a little carried away and I want to talk to you guys. I want to tell you what I'm thinking about playing in Boston. That's like 3 months from now. I can't give you that much prep time, can I? I don't know. Maybe. But I definitely have been wanting to talk to Tyler about something. I definitely don't want to talk to Marcel about it. I'm not going to let Marcel know what I'm playing at any event. That's just the way it goes. All right, let me get caught up here. Sawyer says maybe the brute force version. Yeah. The problem, Sawyer, is having enough heroes for hires for everybody. But I'll see what I can do. I'll let you know. Yes, I agree. We just want him to have a good time. Merlin says, freaking Cadillacs. Warn them that Cadillacs don't do so well against tanks. You know, for a new player, the Cadillac, as Goof pointed out in his awesome video the other day, that was brilliantly done there, Goof. I loved your opening with just a close-up of your face in the shadows. That was great. But the Cadillac's just so easy to play, and you can be competitive with it. Yeah, a new player is still going to struggle playing against a veteran player, even if the new player is playing a Cadillac. I think they all know that. But they don't want to come in with the deck that they built and just get blown out of every game. And if you get blown out when you're playing a Cadillac, well, hopefully you had a little bit of fun while you're at it, right? Alpha Ranger, it says it's not about the Cadillac, it's about how you drive it. To an extent. I mean, you could still play a Cadillac and lose in 2 hands, for sure. But if you're a new player and you're going up against a veteran player, with the Cadillac, you're not out of the game as soon as you sit down. And sometimes you are, as a new player, when you sit down against a veteran player. They look at your deck and they already figured out how they're going to beat you in 2 or 3 hands. So I totally understand why guys are wanting to play it. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Um, Raven says 3 months. That's 2 months and 3 weeks before you'll decide. At least, you might have a good point there. Actually, probably for Boston, I will wait and see what Nor and Jessica decide to play. Just because I want to make sure we don't take the same decks. Corey, I don't have to worry about. He's always coming up with something that has a Hawkeye on it, and I have no desire to play Hawkeye. So I'm not too concerned about taking Corey's deck. Jessica and I tend to enjoy playing the same type of decks. Nor is incredibly creative, and he's coming up with some good stuff. I don't want to say anything about what he's playing or thinking about playing, but I just love the way he's thinking, and it's going to translate very well when Skybound comes out. Holy cow. Yeah, we're going to have some fun in the Legacy format in Boston. That's for sure. Goof says, I just put up a new video about the caddy. I'm not trying to bring up my thoughts on them too much. Feel free, Goof. That, like I said, that was a great video, but speak your mind for sure. Merlin says, then the new player sees the field and asks, why are so many people running this exact same deck? I think it's pretty obvious why. They want to at least have a chance against some of these older players. Goof says, Keith had a great question about what other decks can we recommend for new players. If there were a few options, it wouldn't be as hurtful to see them all the time. Well, like you said in your video, Scarlet Witch for 17 points is hard to beat. And you pair her with Spawn, and now you make Spawn the equivalent of a 19, which is the average of your 4 characters has to be 19 points. And you got 2 spots left. You've already got a negate and you got an 8. So it's tough. Hey, how are you? Wish I knew exactly how to pronounce that. Sorry. Sinfect? How are you, man? If Scarlet Witch wasn't a 17-point character, the Cadillac would be hard to build. Unless you go with the brute force version with Beast the Brute, right? So she makes Spawn a monster. I got it? All right. I might just go with Travis. Thanks. I appreciate that. As good as Spawn is, he wouldn't be quite so good without Scarlet making him legal. Although, you could also use the X-Babies. It'd make him and Heroes for Hire legal on the same deck. I love playing the X-Babies. I want to play the X-Babies in Boston. I don't think I'm going to play the X-Babies in Boston, but I'm not rolling them out. They are a great character for 15 points. I know. Max 5. But, man, that negate and a 6+4 to venture. You can't attack or defend with your battle sight. A 7 can be used to attack or defend. They're hard to beat for the points, and they make so many other good characters playable. So I really like the X-Babies. They were always fun to play with on the Beyonder deck too. But we shall see what we end up with. I'm actually thinking about, man, I hate to even admit this. I may not come with an original deck. I may play something you've all seen before. And I don't mean the Beyonder White Queen deck. I don't think I'll be playing that this year. Boston is my last NAOL event for this season. So I could almost 100% rule out playing the Beyonder White Queen deck. I don't see any reason why I would play it. Marilyn says they're max 5, but they manage to survive nicely for the most part. Yep. Although some guys have learned that you got to the team works against them. But with that 7 that they can defend with special, it even makes the teamworks a little not so bad for them. They can at least defend them. I have been playtesting like crazy as I've been putting up my weekly reports. I can't wait to do a video after the regional and go over everything that we've been doing here. It's been so fun. Tomorrow night, I believe Robert's going to come and join us for the first time. He is now official part of the Ohio crew. That's only going to make us better here in Ohio. Just got to make sure he doesn't leak out any information to Andrew out there in Seattle on their podcast. Which, by the way, when are you guys going to do another podcast? You going to get one up before the regional? Who else? Someone now. Oh, Ray Tan is back. I just saw him today. He'll be here tomorrow night. I got to talk to him about what deck to play. I think he's going to. Actually, I don't think I saw him registered yet. All right, so he'll get us back to 34 if he's not there. And Jack, are both Stillwells registered? Let me look real quick. But we'll get Ray Tan ready. Mr. Phil Keffer is not on this list. I did notice that there was a Phil Keffer sighting on Facebook yesterday and again today. Yeah, Brady Stillwell still needs to sign up. We need to get Ray Tan on here. That's going to get us up to 35. I need to reach out to Mr. Keffer and see what's going on with him. I hope he makes it. Andrew says the Podcasting Buddy Alliance transcends location buddies. Well, you know what, Andrew? We may have to have him play test on the other side of the room all by himself. I can't wait to get him here tomorrow night and start going over some of the stuff that we have been play testing. Yes, we have an episode coming, hopefully Wednesday morning. ERB tier list updated. I don't even want to hear that one, Andrew. How much farther can you drop Tars Tarkas? Oh, man. There are days when Nor comes in and he says, I want to get Tars Tarkas on a deck. And I think he thinks about it for about 3 minutes and then says, never mind. Solitaire play testing for Robert, says the goof. It may be. Yep. If he's going to leak out all of our information, we can't have that. I think Nor probably builds 3 decks a day, is what it seems like. Obviously, it's hard to play that many decks, even as much as we play test. But it is so fun to see what he's coming up with next. Corey's got an interesting one that did not work at all for him on Friday night. So we got to look at that and find out why, because on paper, it looks very, very good. I think he went 0-5. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm a little tired tonight. Andrew says, with a special guest. Oh, there we go. On your ERB tier list updated with a special guest. So there's 3 of us, and we vote. Usually 2 out of the 3 agree. All right. I can't wait to hear what the 3 of you vote for Tars Tarkas. Hey, Goof, I'm just curious. What were the 2 least played characters in regionals last year? I know you had it in the chart. Seems like Tars Tarkas and somebody else, but I could be wrong. Was it Time Traveler, Invisible Man? I was going to go back and look that video up and see. Travis says, are there any characters in Legacy that have a special that 2 or all frontline characters may make an additional attack? Yes. Invisible Woman has it. And somebody's got it in DC, I think. Didn't Huntress have it? I can't remember. I'm sure somebody's going to jump in and tell me here in a minute. Merlin says, that's overpowered. Some decks look indestructible in theory, but crumble in practice. Then some decks you build with no expectation end up dominating. That's exactly what I told Corey after the game Friday night, Merlin. Not everything that looks so good on paper is going to actually function. Hey, Brady, how are you? I will sign up if you take my uncut sheets as payment. Is that the way it's going to be? You get signed up. We'll work that out. Actually, the regional's free. Oh, $20 for the regional. That's right. $20 for the regional. $50 for the OP Cup. And all of the money from the OP Cup is paid out in prize support. And Adam Warlock, yes. Thank you. Oh, wow, Brady. Adam Warlock does have one. I love the Adam Warlock character. I wish I could get him on a deck. Andrew says the middle mob, Tars, Time Traveler, Dracula would be my guesses for least played. Middle as in Industrial Ages, yeah. Superboy and Savage Dragon, says Merlin. Yep, Adam Warlock has one. Travis says Invisible Man and Van Helsing, I think we're not seen in regionals. I think Van Helsing might have been. I don't know about the Invisible Man. Joe Peters kept saying he was going to bring him to an event, but he never did. The Goof says there were 3 that didn't show up. Invisible Man, Industrial Mob were 2 of them. I'll have to look at the town hall for the last one. Invisible Man and Industrial Mob. Yeah, Invisible Man. What's the fee for the Friday night event? Asked the Tech Spectre. That's a great question. That's free. That's a skirmish. It's going to be a free skirmish Friday night. And, the gift says Tars actually made like 7 decks. Okay. And Goof played Van Helsing and Pax. That didn't go well. Sorry, Goof. Hey, Stefan, how are you? Stefan played Van Helsing in Columbus. Yeah, he was there a couple of times. Not a lot. But Invisible Man and Industrial Mob didn't show up at all. The Industrial Mob, they're good, but it's just so hard to play a brute force. So Tech Spectre says free is my favorite price. Yes, come on down and play. It is free, but we have lots of prize packs to give away as prizing for it. Andrew says Van has seen some play, but hasn't matched up with many shifts, it seems. No top 8s. Yeah, I'm really surprised the way the whole season panned out. I like to see it evolve from one event to the next. But boy, those shift decks, they kind of started dominating at the end, right? It's kind of like every time you sit down to play or to build a deck, what's the first character you choose to start with? And why is it Wicked Witch? She's so good. You put the Wicked Witch out there for 19 points. And then you add in Sun Wukong. And it gets tough. But I think things are going to change a little bit. And it was nice seeing Joan of Arc as she transformed throughout the year. I know I played her in Seattle. Joe Peters played her, and it seems like one other person had her out there. I didn't do so good with her. I think I went 3 and 4. I think Joe did very well with her. Did Thomas play her out there? I can't remember. But she not only started the season as a good character, but as the season went, she got better and better. Tex Spector says, as a modern player, is there anything going on Sunday? Can we stand on the sidelines and boo spawn decks? You're a modern only player? There will be at some point on Sunday some side events that we could, most people are going to want to do it mixed though. So I'm not really sure. I'll talk to John about that. John, you're in the chat. What do you got any ideas on how we did that? Doug says, I think Thomas did play her. Yeah, I think he did too. I think there was the 3 of us that played her. And Joe did very well with his. Joan made 4 of the top 8 decks in Nats. Yep. It's kind of amazing when you get EFL into play. She is hard to beat. If EFL would have been Paperclip Tour instead of Astral Plane, might not be quite so much, but Astral Plane makes it very, very hard, especially in a format that does not have a lot of negates. So anyways, it was fun watching her progress after playing her at the first event. And the Wicked Witch, right from the start, when we were play testing, oh, there we go. Goof had her too. Right from the very first time we play tested, Phil said, Wicked Witch. It's got to be a Wicked Witch. Even though the Harness the Wind is a 1 per deck, anytime you can control where the attacks go, it makes a huge difference. A lot of the legacy players call it the Vertigo card because we had to play against the Marauders and their Vertigo card, where every hand they could put that out into play and shift the cards attacks wherever they wanted them to go, and it was very nasty. And the Goose says, with Joan of Arc, you got speed, speed, speed. There is no doubt there's a lot of speed there. Her 4, each frontline character, when it's followed up from an ally and then an enemy character, and then she plays the 4, it's a nice little chain of 5 attacks that can be hard to battle against. Merlin says, it was absolutely dumb to bring back at-will shifting. I agree. I don't think I would have brought it back. The one mechanic that undeniably broke the game in the 90s. Yeah. Even as a 1 per deck, it is still just so powerful. And in this format, you can always Gemini and go get it again for a second hand. Obviously, that's not always going to line up, but when it does, it's amazing. I just, there were so many bad things from the 90s, and at-will shifting and the Grim Reaper Power Leech were 2 of the biggest things that were bad in the 90s, and they brought them both back. It's dumbfounding to me. And there you go, Tex Spector. John says, we'll take care of you somehow. Convince some more modern only to come with you. Yeah, I think guys will show or sign up to playing some modern only on Sunday. Andrew says, speed, team defense, and pseudo lockout, massive value engine that persists after death, and an 8 half multi that's a 10 if EFL is in play, no matter which way you call it, because she gets +2 to combat and intelligence. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. Tech Spector says, Joan plays top 3 in every season 0 major tourney. I'm not surprised at all. We started slow to recognize her. And when I say we, the Columbus crew, we didn't realize exactly what she could do. It took us a while to catch on, but Jessica has played her very well. Merlin says the Wicked Witch is stupidly underpriced. Stupidly or 1 point? Sawyer says we'll just have to include King Arthur and Jane Porter for those KLs. Andrew says which would see play at 20, probably 21. She would definitely still see it at 20 and most likely 21. I agree. Sawyer, the problem with King Arthur and Jane Porter, to get rid of those KLs. King Arthur's is a 7 that has to be successful to get rid of them. But Jane Porter and is it Van Helsing that also has it? Theirs are just remove them, placed in play. So they're really good. Goof says, what do you think Joan and Wonder Woman could be valued at, or Wonder Woman, Wicked Witch could be valued at and still be played? That's a great question. Joan at 19 would still be played. At 20, probably. Would she still be played at 20? Trying to imagine her on Jessica's all-girl deck at 20 points. Now, if you move them both up to 20 points, that's going to make it really hard to get them on the same deck. Now you need 2 18s to make them legal. But I think at 20 points, they would each still be played. Maybe not as often on the same deck. Merlin says, which could easily be 21 and would still see play. Do you think so? Because Merlin don't see much play at 21 points, and he's got a negate. I think 21, jumping from 20 to 21 is a chasm. It really, at 20 points, you can get an 18 to make you legal, but at 21, you need a 17. I don't know. I don't think so. Goose says, but at 21, it would be much harder to out her in without many energy power cards. She'd probably get played with more energy character support. Merlin says, personally, I think as a design philosophy, no character with an 8 stat should have been less than 20 points by default. Witch's kit is well worth it. In the new format, you're probably right. There shouldn't be any 8 stat character less than 20 points. We got spoiled in the Legacy, where so many characters were less than 20. Mr. Fantastic 17, Professor X is an 18. The Incredible Hulk is an 18. The Hand is a 19. Captain America is 20. So, yeah, I think we just got spoiled. And that's the hardest part. The point total, your threat cost, is really the hardest part to determine for a character. The Goose says that design philosophy is getting blown out of the water with the few and cursed. And Andrew says, LOL, so true. The only few and cursed characters with 8s are 19s. Is that right? I haven't looked that close at them yet. Sawyer says, more character options, especially Glenn at 15. Will that many more characters be played? Possibly. Glenn will be the new X-Babies, but you can't put him in reserve, which the X-Babies are never in reserve either. Andrew says, I think Sherlock is fairly statted and kitted at 19. There's none under 19, which is great. Yeah, it'd be hard to make an 8 under 19 points in this new format. Sherlock, man, 19 points. I don't know that I've ever really played him on a deck that did well for me. but I think it's more because he doesn't have the support characters around him. Although, maybe anytime you put him with Joan of Arc, you got something, right? Travis says, now with every character with an 8 being at least 20, would you still think that when more characters come out? At this point, yes. There's no way they could start giving 8 to 17, 18-point characters. They just can't. If they did, all of your 8 stats previous would not get played at all. So I think that's one thing they have to keep consistent. The Goose says, I think 19 is fair for some 8s, but negative threat 8s is going to change up a lot. Andrew says, if there's an 18 or less with an 8, he or she would have crappy specials. You know what? You could probably get away with an 8 stat character with 17 or 18 points with crappy specials. They could still see play. Look at Mr. Fantastic. He don't have great specials. That draw 3 is great, and he's got a pin, and he's got the 7. All right, never mind. He's not a good example. Merlin says, if they're going to make an 8 stat with a low threat, they need to have relatively garbage cards. Yeah. Even if you look at Doctor Strange, 19 points, he's got a 6 or less from reserve, and that's the only reason he gets played, right? Even if he was 17 points, he probably would still end up in reserve all the time. They are there for the grid, and the grid only. Yep. Sawyer says, or a negative inherent to allow for a low max 8. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like negative inherent abilities. And if you go back to the original game, you had a lot of home bases that if you used that home base, there was a negative to them that kept them from being played. Onslaught Citadel would only draw 7 cards per hand. There was one, Blue Area of the Moon. I think all the energy power cards do not count toward venture total. And it was mostly energy or intellect characters, but heavy on the energy side. So you just never saw those home bases played because of the negative. I think that would be the same if you give a negative to a max 8 character. Even if they're low on points, you're probably not going to see him played. Goof is asking, isn't the Few and Cursed Train supposed to be an 18 threat? I'm not sure about that. Train was 19, says Andrew, but that was shown, and then we were told balance changes inbound, nothing is finalized. That's what I was thinking. It was a 19, but it wasn't set in stone. I have not seen it as an 18. I wish Felipe was on here to give us a little update on the Few and Cursed. There was a small update that he sent out last week. They were supposed to choose the printer and get this ball rolling, but I don't know what's going on. And honestly, all along we've heard the Few and Cursed is going to be out before Invincible, Skybound. The longer it takes to announce some of this stuff, the more I wonder about it. Although Skybound is now not coming out until the 28th of August, which is, there's so much going on. Merlin says the negative must be worth the cost to use the team. Drawing 7 with Sentinel makes it unplayable. Blue Area of the Moon can still be made into a solid team. Maybe. I don't know about solid. It's a fun team, but I don't think it would ever show up in a competitive event. And Travis says it was 19. Don't know if it changed. Sawyer says Zeus not being able to play energy teamworks is a nice negative inherent that doesn't make him unplayable. Great point. Yep. Merlin says Avalon is a deck is surprisingly chunky, but the secret is to concentrate fire on a single character at a time to mitigate their ability to remove hits. Yeah, I mean, I still think most negative inherents are bad. Although, Sawyer, you got a great point with Zeus. That one, it's kind of like in the modern game, who cares about teamworks, right? You're not running a whole lot of teamworks anyways, and if Zeus can't play energy, it's okay. One thing I wanted to bring up tonight is about this. Skybound's going to be at the Peace Bridge NAOL event. If you guys want to get your first look at as of right now, that will be the first chance you have to get Skybound. And that's going to be the first weekend of August. So you're going to get it, you're going to see it almost 30 days early. So if you want your first look at the Skybound cards, you want them 30 days early, check out the Peace Bridge event. I don't know who all is coming from Columbus. I will be at the National Sports Collectors Card Convention. I won't be at Peace Bridge. I think Corey, Nor, and Jessica are talking about it. We'll see. We have to see how the store is staffed for that weekend. But I think they may drive up Saturday night and then play, or drive up Friday night, play on Saturday. No, wait a minute. Drive up Saturday night, play on Sunday. No, Friday night is the sealed event, right? So they have to drive up Friday. Then they could play in the regional on Saturday and the OP Cup, or not the OP, the NAOL event on Sunday. Wow, I messed that one all up, didn't I? Sorry, Howard. But I think if they can get product out that soon, I think we ought to bug them about getting us some pre-release events, right? Can we get some? Wait a minute, we got something here. What's Goose saying? They still haven't even made an official announcement about the pushback to the 28th. If it wasn't for Brandon, we wouldn't even know about it, right? Well, I noticed it on the both distributors have it listed as a release date of the 28th. And then Brandon said he was told that at the distributor ACD conference that he went to. I did get that from, was it Ron or Joe? I think it was Joe. Joe said they pushed it back to the 28th, or Ron in a text message to me when I asked him about it. So I'm fairly certain the 28th is the official release date. It would be nice to see it in public. And I'm going to get off the subject just for a little bit, just so I can get caught up here. I'll come back to the 28th release date. Merlin says negative is fine so long as the trade-off is worth it. Problem is, it usually isn't. Exactly. And Doug says focus all firepower on that superstar destroyer. It's a trap, says Joey. Hey, Joey, how are you? Tex Spector says, you know it's a great inherent in Dracula's. Yeah. And so is Van Helsing. He gets a +1 to attack against Dracula, right? Merlin says, it will be fun playing a Skybound draft event where the cards are all relatively new to everyone. Lots of surprises. And Doug Taylor says, relatively new. And I think he's just been nice about saying playtesters have a slight advantage. Travis says, as of this moment, I won't be able to make it to Peace Bridge unless I get a new position at work before then. Well, I hope you do, my friend. I hope you get that new position. Merlin says, Doug, anyone with one of the demo decks and anyone who did playtesting will have some familiarity. Right. Pre-release would be awesome at More Than Peace Bridge, says Travis. Yes. I have actually been bugging James about getting some pre-release events together. I don't know where that stands. I don't know if it's going to happen. I won't roll it out. I'll just say that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to push James in that direction. I don't think James has a problem with doing pre-release events. It's just more along the lines of coordinating everything to make sure the product is there and there's enough product for everybody who shows up. Is that a release or street date? Travis, it's kind of the same thing. Release date is the street date, August 28th. Merlin says, so what you're saying is that the 28th is also unlikely and it will be even later. Not at all. I believe the exact opposite, Merlin. I believe the cards are going to be printed in July. Man, I'm going out on a limb on this one, ain't I? And they're holding them until the 28th. And we can discuss about why they would hold them that long. But if they're going to have the cards the first week of August in Canada, right? So the cards have to be printed in July to get them to Canada on the first weekend of August. So I don't know anything. Nobody has told me anything. I'm just putting one and one together and coming up with two. They have to have the cards printed in July in order to have them in Canada the first weekend of August. And if they can have them in Canada the first weekend of August, they can easily have them to the distributors, and the distributors get them to the stores before August 28th. So that's my take on it. I think they're even going to be printed earlier, I think if they wanted to set up pre-release events at all the stores the first weekend of August, they could do it. We could all have a pre-release that weekend, but I don't know. Merlin says, I got that one. Taylor says, I like to hop over to an alternate dimension where the character spotlights have been playing for months, and I watched their new trailer on a loop. Merlin says, hey, every time I play Van Helsing against Dracula, Dracula has folded. Yeah? How many times has that happened, Merlin? How many times have you played Van Helsing and gone up against Dracula? That's all I'm saying. The Goose says, Doctor Strange says that probability exists in 1 in 100 million alternative universes. Yeah, that's pretty funny, Goof. Hot take, LRG will host pre-release events, but they won't tell anyone about them until after they happen. Come on, Goof. You mean they're going to have their own pre-release events and not invite us? Oh, I don't know. That's hilarious. And Joey says, yeah, that's most likely. John says, airship a small quantity while the rest is on the boat. I believe that's how WizKids used to do it when HeroClix had the big pre-releases. John, you are correct. That is how HeroClix did it. Not how Overpower's going to have to do it, because I believe they're going to be printed either in the United States or Canada. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, ding, ding, ding. It's printed in Canada. We can get it to Peace Bridge with no problem. All I'm saying is, if you can get it to Peace Bridge, you can get it to Columbus, you can get it to Pittsburgh, Florida, Texas, California, Seattle. All right, enough of that. I have seen a little bit about there's some guys selling the product extremely cheap online. I hope you guys didn't order from them. Overpower has what they're calling minimum advertised price policy. If you are below their minimum advertised price point, things are going to supposedly get kind of ugly. They're talking about they're not going to allow it to continue. I'm hoping that they eventually make the product available for brick and mortars only, get rid of these online retailers. I don't need a 50% markup on this game, on any game. It's nice when it happens, but it seldom happens, if ever. One Piece right now, Pokemon maybe, but these guys that are listing it online for $10 over cost and giving free shipping, you're not going to sell enough boxes to make it worth your time of this game right now. If you're thinking Skybound's going to send this game to the moon and you're going to be able to sell 400 or 500 boxes and you make $3 a box after shipping, that's a lot of work for $1,500. The Game Master says those online retailers. Nothing personal there, Game Master. Welcome to the chat. Right now, Bandai has made all their games only available to brick and mortars. I think Flesh and Blood has done that also. It is just such a better way than to have a minimum advertised price. That kind of looks like you don't have confidence in your product, and so you're going to keep people from blowing it out too cheap because you think the price is going to fall if you don't prop it up a little bit. I don't like it. I actually emailed some people at Lazarus and gave them my opinion. I don't like it. I don't like a map price. Right now, the only game that does it that I can think of is Flesh and Blood, and I think they have done away with it. So, Game Master says just the right time. He thinks map is helpful. I don't think it is. I think it can cut both ways. Yes, it allows you to make a little bit of money off of the product, but it also makes people think you don't have a lot of confidence in your game. Your product is, you're afraid your product's going to crash, and so you're trying to prop it up. I just think the better way to do it is to make it brick and mortar restricted. We'll see what happens. Oh boy. Sorry. Trying to turn off my text messaging for all these text messages I'm getting right now. It's helpful for the reasons you mentioned. But it cuts both ways. And I really think that if they just make it brick and mortar for now, it will get the product out there better. It's only brick and mortar restricted for ERB. Actually, no, you don't even have to. If you have an account with ACD or GTS, you can order it, even if you don't have a store. There's nothing listed there that it's brick and mortar restricted. There's also nothing listed there that there is a map policy, although I hear that's going to change soon. Uh-oh, that retailer is back up to full price. Okay, well, I hope that's right. Goof says, has LRG spoken to any brick and mortars aside from you, Doug? Seems like they only talk to companies to get IP or distributors. Got no clue who they've reached out to. And they don't reach out to me, I reach out to them. Sometimes I get a response and sometimes I don't. It just depends. But when I complained about the map, I did get a couple of emails in return. Joy says, sadly, almost none of the brick and mortar stores even know what Overpower is. That is a very sad situation. But it also, if it's brick and mortar restricted, is a good way to get into these stores and tell them, hey, it's not going to be available online. Goof. Yes. Goof says they can release news to fans to prove me wrong. And the Game Master says, true on both points. Yeah. And Merlin says, dinner time, catch y'all later. Merlin, have a great one, buddy. Game Master says, I tried a few times to refer them and they don't get responses. I have forwarded that same thing on to the guys at LRG, how a lot of people are not getting responses. And that's the absolute worst thing that can happen, is if a store or a person feels ignored. And Andrew says, got to go into the stores and play it there. They'll know what it is that people are showing up weekly to play it and asking you got any overpower for sale repeatedly. Yes, but you almost have to have a small group that already knows what it is. So we're trying to expand beyond that and have people come in and look for it without knowing that it's played there. Does that make sense? If a guy walks into the store, hey, I've been hearing about overpower, do you have any? Or do you play here? The Goof says, I just really hope this doesn't turn into I told you so situation where we have to pick LRG's jaws off the ground for them. Well, obviously that would not be fun. So I think they listen more than you know, but I think maybe it's an industry thing that changes are slow to be made. And that's the hard part. I mean, here in Columbus, there's only, I think, one other store that carries overpower. And the manager of that store, I think, knows AJ. And AJ got him to play it. And so he put it in the store for a little while. I don't know if it's selling or not. But there are just so many games out there right now. And it's hard to break through. Goof says there's no way to tell when they don't communicate with us. They didn't even share the new release date. Yeah, they didn't share the map policy with retailers. And then they sent us emails and said, hey, you're below the map policy. And it's like, what map policy? The distributor doesn't have anything listed. You've never posted anything. So how are we supposed to know? And he just says they do listen, but the radio silence on so many things is deafening. Yeah. Hey, War Moose, how you doing? Less than 2 months, still no ads or spotlights besides cons. Andrew says character spotlights coming in about 2 weeks. Okay. Hey, James, how are you? 2 stores in one city. That's the most I know of so far. Probably. And I don't know, did I tell you all last week they're not going to be at Origins, which is kind of a bummer. Doug says 2 weeks from when, though? War Moose, new release date? No, it's kind of a new release date. It's August 28th is the date that the distributors are saying is the release date. We shall see. But I was surprised that they aren't going to be at Origins, but they're going to be at Gen Con this year. They kind of flipped around. They didn't do Gen Con last year, and they did Origins. I don't know. Oh, Doug, you're breaking my heart. No posters, window clings, or mobiles for advertising. I know. I've been begging them for that. I would have loved to put a poster up 6 months ago. I would have done it 6 months ago for sure. I actually started to have one of my own made up, and then, honestly, I got distracted and forgot. The Goose said, I've debated writing another handwritten note to them, asking why they don't tell us about things, but have held myself back a couple of times. Andrew says 2 weeks from an unknown date, 2 days before the day after tomorrow from that day. Yeah. The goose says every time I think about it, the letter becomes less kind. Yeah. I sent an email this morning that I thought was going to be taken the wrong way, but I got a reply back, so it was okay. Or I sent it yesterday, so it wasn't taken as harshly as I was afraid it would. I don't like to send text messages or emails because of that. They can always sound way more harsh than you mean. I like to talk either in person or on the phone, and you can clearly let them communicate how you feel. But now that I see that Sawyer's message, I'm going to go check Sawyer. Let me see if they've got their price up. Because that would be fantastic. Oops. Well, oh, there it comes. What? No, they are up to map pricing now, $172.80. So they did. One did. Who was the other one? Jetpack Comics. Let's see if. Whoops. Did they raise their price? And then there was one I saw yesterday I'd never heard of before. But it looks like whoops, I can't even type. There it is. Yeah, they're just slightly under. I wouldn't really care about that. They're at 170 instead of 172.80, which it's kind of, you could be 20% below SRP. It's as low as you can go. And then I don't even remember the other one. I'd never heard of it before. They were pretty low. Let's see. Oh my gosh, so much going on here. What is Soul Savvy, SOLESAVY, ESAVY. Geez, was that a .com? I don't even know if that was a .com. I don't think so. All right, but anyways, it does look like they are bringing some people around. Let's see, man, it's almost like they are tanking the play on purpose, so to speak, says Joey. I don't think so. I don't want to give you the real reason why I think. I'm going to see these guys in a couple weeks and we can talk then. But wow, the chat's blown up while I was gone. So that's good reason not to send anything. What? The goose says, every time I think about it, the letter becomes less kind, so that's a good reason not to send anything. I agree. Don't ever type anything in anger. Type it out, save it as a draft, calm down, and then come back and edit it. That's what I always do 100% of the time. I never send any angry emails, or if I'm in a bad mood, I never send any emails or text to anybody. Just type it out, save it, and come back and edit it. Andrew says, what reply did you get to the email? They said that they are going to reach out to the 3 stores that I showed them online that were below the map. And one of them has already raised their price to the map price. I'll look up the other one later. And like I said, Jet Comics, Jetpack Comics being $2.80 under. I hope they don't get in trouble for it, but I don't really care. It's like, all right, 170 was the price I put mine up at original. No, we were even less than that. They sent me the email saying that I was below MAP, and I said, I don't even know what MAP is. That's the first I've heard of it. And they said, well, it's 20% below SRP. So I raised mine to 175. Hey, Yusuf, how are you? This crowd is turning into the famous angry mob against LRG. The infamous angry mob against LRG. I don't think so. We're just frustrated by the way some of the things are going. Game Master says, definitely an 8 from Pent Up Energy. Naming names. Yeah, well, I think everybody knew who was selling the stuff really cheap. Although that one, Soul Savvy, it's a sneakers website from what I can see. And I think, honestly, it said their inventory had 5 boxes left. So I wonder if they bought one 6-box case. It was kind of funny. Not angry, but made me sad and disappointed, said Joey. And the Goose says, absolutely, Joey. Freak show. And Doug says, we aren't an angry mob against them, just wish they had better follow through. That's very well put, Doug. Thank you. Andrew says, we are their biggest supporters and don't want to see them fail due to glaring issues we all see, but somehow they don't. Very well put, Andrew. And the Goose says, they're listening supposedly, but not changing their approach. So I shouldn't keep doing the same thing again and again. Actually, I think we have made small progress. And sometimes we don't realize it. Like now we've seen they're enforcing their MAP policy because a couple of us were reaching out and complaining. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. But I was definitely complaining. And so, look, if you're going to make me sell it at that price, you got to make everybody sell it at that price. And they did. So there's a lot of things going on with James and Organized Play. We're on Top Deck now, which I think Howard found Top Deck. And he said, hey, check out this topdeck.gg. And they did, and they liked it, and it converted. So I think they are very slow to respond, but they are making some changes. I believe there was supposed to be a social media post today from them about MAP. I don't know if it happened or not. And at this point, it doesn't really matter. They made the lowball guy get his price up. And that makes me incredibly happy just seeing that. Yusuf said, disappointed mob can be a future proxy with Photoshop players on it. Game Master says, I missed so much, have to catch the replay. Yeah, just listen to it on 2 times speed. It won't take you long. And the Goof says they're enforcing their MAP policy, but not telling their buyers that they won't get their cards until 8/28. Not great priorities, in my opinion. Yeah. I 100% understand what you're saying, Goof. I really understand it. You're right. Why have we not seen a social media post saying coming August 28th? Why does it say coming in August? 100%. And Doug says they moved regionals to Ohio. We had a regional last year. They changed their prize packs. Yes, very good, Doug. They did. They realized they made a mistake, and they fixed it. Travis says, I keep forgetting, what is the threat level when using 3-stat characters? +4 if you only have one 3-stat character. And then +5 if you run a second 3-stat character. And then I'm not sure. The game master says because it's going to be September or later. I don't think so. And Sawyer says they went to 220. Maybe we're looking at two different, maybe we're talking about two different websites, Sawyer. I just went to Game Nerds, which is the one I saw selling it for a ridiculous price. And Game Nerds is up to $172.80. Travis says the silence from LRG is honestly a little disheartening. Totally agree, Travis. I wish they would talk more about certain things and less about maybe some other things. Doug says, I mean, they moved the Nats to Ohio. Yes. And Doug says, point is, they have listened to feedback. I 100% agree. We all demanded. We had the what do you call it? We all were trying to get the Nats to Columbus, and we all spoke about it enough that they said, you know what, it really is the best place to have it, and they moved it here, and it was phenomenal. The Goose says there's a section in the comprehensive rule book, page 16 or so, I think. Okay. Plus 4, plus 5, plus 5, plus 4. Okay. Thanks, Goof. There you go, Travis. You can look it up in the comprehensive rule book. Around page 16. Oh, that's a lot. This is kind of crazy. Jessica sending me a text message. Why isn't she listening to the stream? Okay. All right. I guess Jessica just didn't want to listen to the stream, so she sent me a text. All right. Good. There you go, Travis. Did you find it? All right. So now that we kind of got some of that stuff off our chest, I got the map policy off my chest, which was really bugging me. It was driving me crazy all weekend, and I'm really glad that they have moved on from there. So checking to see if there's any updates, but I don't see anything. They have not. Doesn't look like the social media. There's any social media post. Let me try this one. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Let's see here. Seriously. June 5th was the last time they posted anything on Facebook. Is that right? Wait a minute. June 4th. Sometimes I hate how Facebook doesn't put everything up in chronological order, but it looks like on June 2nd, they put up Join the Battle, Overpower card game, August 2026. And it has some Invincible characters pictured there. But it doesn't mention Skybound or Invincible or The Walking Dead. Oh my gosh. Oh well. You know what? We can only do so much, right? We do our part, let them do their part. It's their game, not ours, unfortunately. The Tech Spectre says, tell us about your playtesting sessions. I did a little bit about that early. Did you coming in late too? Game Master says, OP therapy session. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more sessions. Thank you, Game Master. Please, guys, do that. Like and subscribe. I appreciate you all. Where are we at? We got 12 likes already. That's a good start. Good question, Tech, says the Traveling Goof. Travis says it's page 10, but thank you very much. And Andrew says, good thing they have a full-time social media guy now, LOL. War Moose meetings on Mondays. I take it. Yes, we will have our OP therapy sessions on Monday nights between now and the end of the month. And we'll see what happens in July. We may have to have 2 sessions a week in July. Especially if Felipe don't get us a release date for the few and cursed, right? You know what? Doug Taylor. My name is Doug, and I play Overpower. Yes, you do. My playtesting sessions are going very well. I am actually enjoying playtesting some new decks. And the one that I'm heavily leaning towards playing at the regional, I've been going 2-1. I beat Nora 2-1, beat Corey 2-1, beat Jessica 2-1. If I can go 6-3 with it, I'm pretty happy that I think I can do well with it at the regionals. So we shall see. Game Master says, I'll do my part. How about you? Starship Troopers quote. Look at that, Doug. A lot of people are saying hi to you. That can be a huge group session. Yeah. We could all take out a lot of frustrations, right? Maybe that's what I'll make the next Mondays. I'll title it as group therapy. I will try to get. I'm going to reach out to him and say, "Can you please post a release date?" I don't like to message the guys very often. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't do it much at all. I have been emailing them about the regional and the OP Cup. I've been getting some of the prize support in. It's probably coming in 5 different shipments. I got the trophies today. I posted the picture of the OP Cup trophy. The regional trophy came in at the same time. I have some prize packs. I have the booster boxes. What else came in? The $2,500 check for first place is here. I am supposed to get another 1 or 2 large standees like Mina and Hercules. They have not arrived yet. What else? There's a couple. Oh, the top 8 pins aren't here yet. The play mats aren't here yet. So I do message them when the stuff comes in, keep them up to date on that. But it's not like I'm messaging them once or twice a week. Not even once or twice a month. I did need a rules clarification from Joe last week or the week before, and I did text him about that, and he replied right back with an answer on that. But I do think we got to get a release date out there, right? Yeah, War Moose says, I just want to see new cards. We all do. And I told James in a text today that I'm a little disappointed with the regional registration. We're at 33 players. We might be lucky to hit 40 or 45. And he thinks it's because Skybound's not out. And when Skybound releases, the other regionals attendance should pick up. But I'm a little disappointed that if we only have 40 or 45, let's just say we hit 45. I think right now there are 2 players that aren't signed up that I know that are coming. It would put us at 35. At this point, it's going to be hard to get to 45, which is almost 20 players down from last year. We're supposed to be growing this game, and we're not. It's not growing. It's so frustrating. So I think I will save that for next week's therapy session. Next week, we'll talk about how the game's not growing. It's actually maybe going backwards, at least until Skybound comes out. The Few and the Cursed is going to bring some players in. I want to see the Few and the Cursed. Give me a release date. Let me set up a learn to play date using the Few and the Cursed cards. I don't want to use ERB to do another learn to play date. I want to do it with the Few and the Cursed. That's just, to me, it's a logical next step. I don't want a big learn to play date in July without the few and the cursed. If I do it with the ERB, then I'm not going to have a chance to do it with the few and the cursed, because Skybound's coming out. There's not enough time to do it for both. I think people will show up for a Learn to Play date with Invincible. And the only way they're going to show up for a few and the cursed Learn to Play date is if they're still hungry for cards. Oh, Travis says, judging by all the arguing on Discord, I think we are losing numbers. Oh, Travis, don't tell me that. I don't get into Discord very often. I did try to follow up on the chaos that was on there last week. I couldn't figure it out. I just honestly don't understand what was going on there or why it was even happening. But I'm not going to go on Discord if there's a lot of that kind of crap. It's not what Discord's there for, right? It's not to argue. Let's grow this game, not take away the few players that we have. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to wrap it up right there. And Game Master says, Skybound fix everything. I don't think it will, but I think it's a start. It's a good start. And we just got to get there. We're almost there, guys. Believe it or not, we're almost there. We have June, July, and the end of August. We're only 3 months away. Oh, my gosh. You guys have a great week. I'll see you all next Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button on the way out, please. Thank you so much.